If my calculations are correct, when this podcast hits 88 miles an hour, you are going to see some serious shit, randos.
And your kids are going to love it.
Welcome into the Fandom at Random podcast. I am Ed.
I am Brian.
And we are back in the saddle again. We thought we'd take a little time away from Elden Ring
Yeah.
to actually record a podcast.
Should we actually get into a little bit, check in about Elden Ring real quick? Because take it from a non-Souls fan, or at least a mediocre Souls fan, this game needs to be raved about.
Yeah. It's I don't know. To me, I think you could probably already say game of the year.
Yeah.
It's only March, but
I didn't want it. Like, I know he's a huge, like, Soulsborne fan, and I didn't want to say it out loud, but I did not want this to be game of the year. I did not want a From Software game to be game of the year. I can't deny it. I am a believer. They have found the perfect balance between fucking difficult, but also people who are willing to deal with the stress. They can get into it. I'm telling you, if you haven't yet, check it out. It's amazing.
Yep. And again, if I could hop in my time machine and shoot to the Game Awards later this year,
yeah,
I'd be willing to bet that Elden Ring will be Game of the Year and win a shit ton of awards.
I use the word masterpiece very, very rarely. I think I haven't finished it yet, and I'll wait till I finish it to actually give it that praise, but it's getting there.
It's a masterpiece. Well, this episode today is also going to be a masterpiece because you know why?
Yeah.
We are talking about our top 10 movies with time travel elements. And what kind of spurned this was, obviously, we just had daylight savings time, which apparently that might not be a thing.
Yeah.
In the near future, they're voting to get rid of daylight savings.
People have been on about not having it for a while, but it's been, a small minority. But, yeah, it's in real talks now. So
we had daylight savings, so we all already quasi-time traveled. And then Ryan Reynolds' new film also came out, The Adam Project, on Netflix. And
I haven't seen it yet, so
we'll do a quick. I'll give my quick 10-second take. It's a good D-list sci-fi time travel movie. If you're looking for something you can watch, if you have relatively even younger kids, they might enjoy it. It wasn't my cup of tea. That's my quick review.
D-list and Ryan Reynolds, I didn't ever think would be in the same sentence, but here we are. So I'm gonna have to watch it.
Green Lantern, man.
Come on. Gets more hate than it deserves. Blake Lively was in it, so there's that. I'm gonna have to watch the Adam Project and see what we're working with here.
But with all of that going on in the time-related shit, we thought, you know what? Let's do a top 10. We haven't done a top 10 in a while.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do our top 10 personal ranking, top 10 time travel movies. And we did this like we usually do. I made my own top 10. Brian made his. Consensus. We mashed them together. Boom. Top 10.
Boom. I've never thought of this before, and when you mentioned it, this is actually a really fun fucking list because I didn't realize how many of my favorite movies are time travel movies. So
yeah, absolutely,
it works.
And I do want to very quickly mention, we shouldn't brush over this, but we do have an unfortunate fandom
fatality
that happened this last week. Scott Hall, better known as Razor Ramon, he has passed away at the age of 63. Unfortunately, he had an accident, and he ended up suffering from multiple heart attacks while he was in the hospital. Yeah,
that's disrespectful, but true.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's why so many wrestlers die so young with what they do to their bodies. But I mean, hey, Chico, Razor Ramon, man, guy was a legend.
R.I.P.
Well, on to our top 10.
Wish I could go back in time and save him.
And we're gonna try to be as light on spoilers as we can when we go through this top 10. If there's some movies in here you haven't seen that you do want to check out, we'll try not to make any crazy plot points. We'll try to be as broad as possible.
But with that being said, spoilers can slip out. So if you hear a movie come up and you might not want to hear about it, but you want to watch it, just be careful. That's all.
It's like a fart. Sometimes spoilers slip out.
You don't want to gamble over 50 years old on a fart. And that's all I'm saying.
All right, so we're going to start at number 10, and we're going to work our way to our number 1 consensus-ranked movie with time travel. Number 10, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this
Tom Cruise, Scientology. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, so this had Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton, Always a pleasure with Bill Paxton and Brendan Gleeson. So this movie I feel like was inspired by another comedic take of this movie, which we're going to talk about later in our list. But the general plot is, Tom Cruise's character ends up, I think he gets exposed to like alien technology or DNA to the point that it keeps, the day keeps resetting. But he gets to retain all of his memories and all the skills that he learns. So hundreds and hundreds of times over, he ends up becoming like a badass super soldier.
Right. Yeah. And he keeps reliving the same day, except in the middle of like a world-ending war. And Tom Cruise is amazing, obviously, but Emily Blunt is such a badass. Like, this is one of my favorite female badass roles, aside from the obvious, Ripley, Sarah Connor, that type of shit. But I think she's on rank for badass female in this movie. And the action, the special effects, and the story all go hand in hand to make a really good movie.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. It was good enough to make our top 10 at number 10.
Yeah, and I was looking it up because what you might think it's based off of a certain comedic film, but it's actually, and I thought you would have known this, I think it's based off an anime / manga. I'm going to have to research more into it, but I think it's called All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka.
When did
that name?
No. When did that come out?
I'm not sure. 2014.
The anime?
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm just reading a Google thing right now, but I wanted to mention it because I know you're into that whole like Japan thing or whatever. So
we might talk about an anime movie in a little bit that has some time travel in it.
Yes, sir. But yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, good movie, good time travel movie. You should check it out.
Number 9. You got to have Van Damme in this list, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Time Cop,
man. I have never seen anybody in my life wear a mullet like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And in this movie, it's peak mullet. I'm just saying. Pure 90s fun, pure 90s action. You got Van Damme with a mullet, traveling back in time. He sees himself. He's saving the world. It's your basic 90s movie, but because it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, this was like, I think, I'd have to go back and look. I think this may have been like blockbuster-wise. I think it may have been Van Damme's biggest film in theaters.
Yeah, that's possible because this came after Kickboxer and Bloodsport.
Yeah, Bloodsport.
So his reputation had built up to this point, and it's very possible that the theaters saw a big hit in this movie.
But it's a good to be in. It's a good kind of quasi like it's a Van Damme film.
Yeah.
It's got some cheese to it.
If you love 90s action, you're gonna love it. If you don't, it hasn't dated well. So I mean, let's be real. It's one of my favorite time travel movies, and his. But yeah, if you're watching it for the first time these days, it might not appeal to you as much as it did back in the 90s. So
All right, let's talk about our number 8 movie, and this was one I had ranked pretty high on my list. It wasn't on Brian's list, but
it slipped my mind. But to be fair, I saw this movie and do absolutely believe it belongs on this list.
So it's called Your Name, which is an original anime film. It was directed by Makoto Shinkai, and he is, in my opinion, he's like the kind of like the current day like Studio Ghibli-esque kind of mind right now.
Ghibli.
Yeah, he's coming out with just amazing shit. Weathering with You, which they also came out, was also beautiful. I highly recommend you check that out.
Yeah. Now, I've always wondered, like, directing an anime movie, it's got to be very different from directing a live-action movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're more so working with the storyboard, art direction, dealing with voice actors, things like that.
Yeah.
But the reason, and again, I don't want to spoil too much. If you have not seen Your Name, highly, highly recommend you go check it out. The movie's gorgeous as well.
This is one you don't want spoiled. Like, if you have the heart to watch an anime, I'd point to this one.
But there are some supernatural things that go on in this movie. And there's really cool use of time travel in this that deserve to get it on this list.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a tearjerker.
It is. I watched it with my girlfriend, and I remember that I had to like do the and wipe the tears away.
Something in your eye?
Something in both my eyes. Yeah, no, great movie. Go and watch it.
Speaking of great movies, you should go and watch number 7, Looper.
Looper, big Bruce Willis.
Dude, this film, man.
Not the first time he's going to make an appearance on this list.
And it only had a $30 million budget,
which I think played into it because this is a kind of an effects light movie in comparison to a lot of the time travel movies that we have on here, and it added to that grounded grittiness of the film. And Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt did an amazing job.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a young Bruce Willis did a fantastic job.
I can't remember. Did they do makeup or?
Yeah, they did makeup.
I thought they did, yeah.
But, I mean, he fell into it. He actually studied a lot of Bruce Willis's earlier films, his mannerisms, and he did a great job. And, I mean, the whole plot of this movie is just crazy.
It is.
You know, essentially,
actually, Emily Blunt, again, is in this.
How many time travel movies is she in?
Yeah, right? Oh no, A Quiet Place doesn't actually go into time travel, but she's in another one too. I think Wind Chill is a horror movie that kind of involves time travel. She's in a lot, but yeah. This is before Bruce Willis kind of started doing the whole B movie thing and turned into a shit actor. It's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's smart. Like you said, some of these films that get the gigantic budgets, sometimes they do go a little too effects laden and heavy.
Yeah.
There's another movie that didn't make our top 10, but it's on our honorable mentions. That it was like the prime example of that. They had no budget to film it.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's like one of the smartest time travel movies ever done.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Now, keep in mind, time travel movies, I am convinced that there is zero possibility there is no plot hole. No matter what, a time travel movie cannot be tied up perfectly.
Yep.
But if there are movies that can do it, they're on this list. And I think Looper is one of those good ones that tied it up as neatly as can be.
All right, Brian, number 6.
Excellent!
The Bill and Ted's trilogy.
Wild Stallion.
We could add Face the Music in there, Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. But, I mean, the Bill and Ted movies, we talked about it earlier, just... It's nice to have you can have the hard-hitting, dramatic, really scientifically driven time travel films.
Yep.
And then you get Bill and Ted just having fun.
There's so much to have fun with in time travel. Abraham Lincoln and all these historical figures to like draw back on. And Bill and Ted did that, you know?
Yeah, and it was... I like when...
Didn't George Washington show up at one point?
I'm sure. But I like when, time travel, when it's presented in any kind of medium... when it has like a good like flavor to it.
Yeah.
And this had, I mean, the whole like thing with like, the phone booth is so iconic.
Right.
Rufus showing up, dialing in like what
Death.
year you're going back to.
I mean,
Death, man.
It had
Melvin.
The Melvin. They had fun with it, and Keanu Reeves was just, he wasn't as tight back then, if that makes any sense. He was really loose and having fun with it. And yeah, it was a fun movie.
He also hadn't suffered like all the horrific tragedies he's had in his life by then.
Shit, John Wick didn't suffer as much as Keanu Reeves did.
I know.
Yeah, it's really fun. The elements they used in time travel, and like you said, the twist and the flavor they actually put on it was really good.
Yeah, one of my favorite time travel films and trilogy, Station.
That people are going to be surprised from my point of view on this one.
So number 5. And this, to me, was the movie that inspired Edge of Tomorrow, which was Groundhog Day.
Right.
I mean, the Bill Murray classic. This is like, not even time travel movie-wise, this is probably in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And I love this film.
It maybe breaks my top 50.
Wow.
I am not a Bill Murray fan. Scrooge, Groundhog Day, Caddyshack. I haven't even seen Caddyshack.
All right, hang on. I got to mute his mic.
Dude, I know it's a controversial opinion, but I do like him in some
Bill
things.
Murray, man, come
but
on.
Groundhog Day I saw a couple times. I'm like, well, it's an okay, funny movie, but I don't understand why it gets the praise that it does.
Yeah, I loved it, and it was just so smart. And the film was so smart.
I can give it that, yeah.
Seeing him every single day, just, I mean, there's the comedic factor, but then like realizing that when you have infinite time, and somebody did a study and actually figured out exactly how many times he was in this loop to get as proficient as he did at everything.
Yeah.
Because he became like a professional pianist. He was multiple different things and skills that he acquired. And it's something like, I think it was like over like 100 years.
Jesus
Like he was in this loop.
Wow.
And it's just it's an original concept. And he throw Bill Murray in. Comedic genius. Screw you, Brian. And it was a home run.
Yeah. It was about a triple for me, but yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's a classic. It needs to be on the list. When you're talking about time travel, time skipping, whatever, Groundhog Day comes up.
I'm going to let you take this next one. Number 4, Interstellar.
Talk about top 5 movies of all time, right?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan. Probably, even though I'm a DC fan, this is probably my favorite film by him. The science behind it, the ending falls apart a little bit. I'm not going to spoil it. It really, the science throughout the whole film that leads up to the conclusion in the end, really, the emotion was there. And honestly, it's another tearjerker, but at the same time, it was kind of loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
But the effects, the acting, the score is probably number 1 score, at least top 3 score in any movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
And it's just an epic time travel fantasy.
Did Trent Reznor do that score? I have to go back and look. I
he
think
might have.
I think
it does. Thinking back on it, it does have a touch of Trent Reznor's flavor on it.
I'm gonna vet that because
Matthew McConaughey is. I think he's way underrated because I think people think he's an idiot, but when it comes to acting, he can act his way out of fucking anything. Anne Hathaway, who's hit or miss for me, was amazing in this. And scientists actually, no, it wasn't.
It was Hans Zimmer.
Zimmerman.
The next closest thing.
I just watched a movie today, Hans Zimmerman, Drop Zone. It was Wesley Snipes' 90s action.
There you go.
Yeah, but a scientist used the model that they came up with for a black hole in this movie to this day because of how accurately it represented it. And all in all, I just think it's one of the best science fiction time travel movies out there. I really can't say enough about it. If you haven't seen it, I bought the 4K. I mean, I am just a super fan of this movie.
That's actually an NFT Brian bought. He actually now owns 4K.
Yeah. Do you want to screenshot it?
But yeah, no, it's incredible film, and I like that. You know, a lot of these, like when we say time travel, you know, a lot of them don't even have like the classic time machine type of thing. It's more, you know, scientific, or even like in Interstellar, it's less time travel and more time manipulation,
right?
Whereas, you know,
they explore different planes of reality in this movie.
You know, where an hour or two on a planet,
yes,
outside in the actual how time and like the ripple effect and how it changes.
I was gonna say, one of the coolest scenes to me is they're exploring planets, going one by one. Each planet has a different time variable, so they leave somebody on the ship, they go to the planet. An hour on that planet is 10 years on the ship.
Crazy.
And when they come back, one of their crewmates is gray. They've been there for 20 years and they've been on the planet for an hour and a half. And it's just powerful, emotional. Matt Damon does a great job. Like I said, this was my number 1 pick.
Matt
on the list.
Damon.
Matt Damon. This is a number 1 pick for me. I can't recommend it enough. Check it out.
Number 3. Hey, Donnie. Donnie Darko.
Why are you wearing that stupid human mask?
Donnie Darko.
So this is the first movie that popped up when we talked about this list.
Yeah. And dude, when I watched this movie, I had something pop up. I'll tell you that. This movie, I saw this at a very impressionable age when I was in high school, and it blew my mind. I watched it countless times after that, and just like we said before, when this starts delving into, the whole the philosophy of time travel.
Yeah.
And what dictates time travel, looking at parallel universes, all these different things. And this was another movie too that was kind of cool because it has the blatant time travel aspect at the end, and looking at alternate timelines and then converging and trying to fix them. And then going back to after the film and then researching it more. They even had other lore they built after the movie released that you could go and, the whole Roberta Sparrow, you could go through her notes and actually read about it.
Yeah, it's like, dude, kids these days want to bitch about being depressed, right? Well, try smoking a bowl out of a water bottle in tinfoil, sitting down and hearing some old lady say all living creatures die alone, and then being like, what the fuck? She's so right. I'm gonna admit it right now. When I first watched this movie at like 13 years old, everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's so cool! Don't you get it? Like, it's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." I had no idea what the fuck this movie was about until I was like 18 when I rewatched it again.
Yeah,
like, I finally get it.
I think I saw it when I was like closer to 16.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, oh my god, it's so deep. Really, it made no sense to me until I got older. But
yeah,
it was depressing.
It is. It's definitely a movie you need to watch more than once.
Yeah. Patrick Swayze.
Oh yeah. This was Jake Gyllenhaal's breakout role, though.
Yes.
I mean, this is what put him on the map, and his sister Maggie's in it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that line between them? No, I'm calling you a stupid fuck, you stupid fuck, or something like that.
Suck a fuck.
Oh, suck a fuck. That's what it was. Yep. But yeah, between the old lady, Jake Gyllenhaal's acting, and the story, this is a classic time travel film.
Gretchen Ross.
Yes.
Go check it out if you haven't seen it, randos.
Talking about classic.
We're down to number 2.
Yep.
Number 2 and number 1 on the list. And number 2, we're in the heavy hitters now. So if you haven't heard, you're like, where is it? It's probably coming up. Or it might not be. That's why we have honorable mentions.
Come with me if you want to live.
Terminator. The Terminator franchise.
Before we get into it, let's settle something right now between the both of us. Favorite one?
2. Judgment Day.
Absolutely. Obviously.
Yeah.
There's some people in my horror group are saying 1. I'm like, fuck you guys. That movie's good, but nothing beats T2.
So I will say, from a pure horror standpoint, though,
yes,
Terminator 1 plays much more like the quasi-slasher horror film.
T2 isn't even a horror film.
No, it's an action film.
Yes, and T1, horror film, all the way.
But, I mean, T2 still has some horror aspects.
It does.
T1000 doing some fucked up shit. But,
yeah.
T2 is a masterpiece. And then everything after that went way downhill. But it's still like the whole time travel with this, going back to try to, stop a rampant AI that is going to take over and pretty much destroy the entire planet. And you get to see the whole thing is, Judgment Day.
Yes.
And they make these changes of this or that, but they're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
It's Judgment Day is eventually going to come. And it's a whole course correction with time travel and
and if anybody got it right for reality, it's probably them, because our downfall is either going to be nuclear war or more than likely AI that gets its own consciousness, sentience. And the scene with Sarah Connor holding the fence and everyone getting cooked, dude, that gave me nightmares for fucking months when I watched it when I was younger. But the time travel aspect and the AI, I mean, Boston Dynamics, like I said, they're working on some shit that's real crazy. So, yeah.
Skynet,
yeah. I mean, they might as well just name it that, because that's where we're headed.
Yeah, it is. This is one of those films that's definitely more set in, there's a realism to it, which also I think made it awesome. And
became more realistic as future went on in reality. It's like, shit.
It's getting there.
After T2, is there any that you did like? Like, if there's one movie you could pick after T2, what would it be that you would recommend to our audience?
T3 was that Rise of the Machines, or
with the blonde girl?
Okay, that one sucked.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That was not good.
Yeah. I personally like the one with Christian Bale.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one with Bale was.
I think it's underrated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like the greatest movie ever. It's probably not even wonderful, but
and then oh my god,
out of the franchise,
the The Emilia Clarke one. Oh,
That was so bad.
it was so bad.
What was the one called with fucking Christian Bale? Overdrive or some shit. Anyway, and then the one where they brought Sarah Connor back with the other girl. It was okay, but it didn't do anything for me.
I tell you, not to go on too much of a random tangent here, but the TV series, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, was excellent. Which also we mentioned Emilia Clarke. That was Lena Headey as Sarah Connor.
Yeah,
and it was
Game of Thrones. Lena
I
Headey.
thought it was great.
Salvation. That's the one I'm thinking
That's
of.
what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing. There was no salvation in that film.
I do think. Yeah, I watched the TV series last year, and it still holds up. So if you want some Terminator goodness, check it out.
Yeah, it's too bad that got canceled. I think before they really took off.
Yeah, there was potential in it, just like Firefly. Summer Glau was part of both of them. Maybe she's cursed,
Yeah, maybe.
like fucking Yoko.
And she was
Maybe
also
she's a Yoko of entertainment.
she was also in Arrow, and then that was canceled shortly after. Remember, she was like
She was Deathstroke's daughter. Well, not daughter.
no, and that costume was terrible on
was
her.
so
They gave her the
bad.
giant like balloon head
Yeah.
with like the cutout on the mask.
My God,
Oh my
it was
god!
so bad.
All right, number one. I mean, it's how can anything not be?
Even though I wouldn't agree this would be my number one, I can't
It has to be.
argue that it shouldn't be number one on the time travel scale.
Hot Tub Time Machine. Yes. No, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
The whole franchise holds
Yeah,
up.
and it's just nothing when it comes to time travel in film. I mean, it's magical. And it's kind of funny now, like you said, it still holds up because even going back and, you know, when they come to the future, it's pretty much just present day for us now.
Right.
But it's still...
Remember, everyone celebrated the day like it was a holiday.
Yeah. I want my goddamn hoverboard. Where is my hoverboard?
Yeah. It's out there. I remember seeing articles on the day.
They've got the magnetic one.
Yeah, they have
but
some, but we don't actually have a hoverboard yet. But
They need power.
we're getting close.
But I mean,
They need 15 gigawatts or whatever it is. I have no idea.
1.21, bitch.
1.21. I'm not a super fan like him of Back to the Future. So,
but yeah, I mean, these films just...
Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox.
The list goes on.
Again, you used the word flavor earlier, and this movie has it in droves.
The DeLorean.
Yeah, the DeLorean.
If you're going to make
the
a time
hoverboard,
machine,
the
you gotta
Nikes,
make it with style.
they had a shit ton of like bookmark things for them, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's just... it is, like, delving into the time travel, and then, again, seeing the ripple effect, and then splitting with multiple timelines. And I love just having somebody like Doc Brown, you know, so eccentric, Christopher Lloyd, and just grabbing the whiteboard and showing, you know, the time divergences and what they need to fix, and they got to go back and fix that.
Yeah.
And then seeing in, like, Back to the Future 2, you know, he's seeing himself and then running in, and it's just, it was so well done.
One of my favorite scenes is when he's got the picture in his guitar and he's trying to play and everything's disappearing and he's like,
Earth Angel, Earth Angel.
won't you be mine?
But yeah, Back to the Future trilogy at number one. I think it deserves to be there.
Did you like number 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I did too.
You know, 3 will always kind of be the, I don't want to say the letdown, but it was more like the ride was just so good you didn't want it to end.
Like a redheaded stepchild.
But I mean, you know, they go to the Old West and it was
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, but
It was fun. It's definitely a...
didn't hold the candle to the first 2. But
Yeah.
it was, it, again, as far as consistent franchises go, this is one of them.
And please, God, don't ever remake these films.
You know they will.
Yeah.
You know what they should do is actually make a cartoon with a little bit of a spin on it, and I think that could work. It might even blow up.
Cartoon?
There might actually be pretentious people out there who think they're really smart for watching this cartoon.
Morty. Yeah,
Yes, Rick and Morty.
Rick and
Yeah,
Morty.
I am making fun of Rick and Morty.
That's so good, man.
I haven't got into it yet. I don't deny that it's good, but just pretentious motherfuckers watch it. That's all I'm saying.
Got to throw some noob in
Just
Rick and
like
Morty.
the fucking From Software fans.
Oh, we got some honorable mentions too here.
Yeah.
So the biggest one that didn't make this list for me was in my top 10. It was not in Brian's, but Primer.
I haven't even heard of this movie until this list.
Oh my God, Primer.
Keep in mind, I'm a huge... What he is a sci-fi fantasy fan, I am a horror fan. So it is understandable that it slipped under my radar.
Well, get this thing front and center on your radar. You need to check out Primer. It is...
Is the main character's name Mud? My name is Mud.
My name is Mud. It is incredible. They had virtually no budget to make it. They couldn't even they couldn't afford to hire actors, so the guys that wrote it ended up playing the characters themselves. And it is just so...
No shit.
Like, I don't even want to spoil too much, but the time travel device, it's called the box, and it gets like...
That's original.
It gets fucked. Like,
Okay.
Like, if you want a time travel movie that's, like, insanely smart and follows science, like, to a T, go check out Primer.
I mean,
It'll
you
blow
know
your
me.
mind.
You tell me a movie's fucked, I'm probably going to be tempted to watch it.
Oh, yeah. You'll be... Like, there are people, like, after this, I'm going to show you, there is somebody made it's literally a guideline if you want to watch Primer, and it'll show you all of the branching timelines that are created and where they diverge at different points in the film, and it's insane. So Primer, definitely in there. X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
in my
that's a good
opinion,
one.
one of the better new X-Men films, and then they got shitty. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
I mean, the time travel was kind of wonky, but it was
but there's no denying that was an amazing movie, yeah.
Happy Death Day.
My number 10, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge horror fan, and this movie is awesome, but when it comes to time travel, it's definitely lower on the list, but still an amazing watch. Do not watch part 2. If you watch Happy Death Day, just stop there. That's all I'm saying.
12 Monkeys, another one that I tried to get in the top 10.
That's what I meant. I thought it was on this list, but it isn't. I rewatched it before we made this list, and Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis are just fucking amazing in this movie, man.
Great film. Tenet, one of the newer ones. I thought it was not one of Nolan's best films, though.
Yeah, no. I was expecting a little more, but
it was okay.
it wasn't terrible.
But I mean, there's no way, like, Interstellar leagues better. It deserves to be on this list.
Absolutely.
Planet of the Apes, man. Big twist at the end. The Butterfly Effect, which was another...
debated putting this on my list.
I did as well, because it's such a good film, and it's kind of quasi-horror.
Besides Donnie Darko, like, it's one of the few movies that takes time travel and goes really depressing with it. Like, what can actually happen in life, and... Ashton Kutcher was really good in it. Amy Smart was good. Yeah.
And another movie similar in that vein, which was the last honorable mention, was Click.
Yeah.
Which, Click, another movie that Adam Sandler, and similar to with Ashton Kutcher and The Butterfly Effect, normally funny films, Click gets dark as shit.
That shit
towards the end, I was like, oh my
your face. Yeah.
So another kind of cool take on time travel with a remote that you can literally time travel with.
That one didn't even come to my mind, but it's a good one.
But that about sums up our top 10 time travel films.
We forgot about Hot Tub Time Machine. We actually did have that as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Come on now.
That movie's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad, but
so bad.
I guess it deserves to be on the list.
It deserves to be mentioned.
Well, Brian, we're going to cut this one right now because there's more Elden Ring to be played.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get back and beat the fucking dragon.
I wish I could like time travel myself and like come back and tell me how to beat fucking what is it, Radon, I believe.
I
cannot beat him.
Lucina Reina, so don't even bitch because you made it past her. So,
all right, Randos, we're out. We'll be back later.